just going to do it this way. Hi, welcome to season 2, season finale. It's a little like Inception right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
See? And a cowboy hat, black guy in a cowboy hat, dipping tea.
This is what Christopher Nolan actually meant.
This is what he meant. This is Tenay, by the way. This is what Tenay is all about.
Tenay. I like it.
There you go. Let's fix this shit.
Yes. Everybody just gets up and leaves. Fantastic. Season 2 finale, everybody.
Making magic happen.
There was a part of me that I was like, oh, well, obviously this is a serious, beautiful, poignant moment in the history of the Refinery. It's this finale of season 2. This has been a great season. Yeah. It's been something that's so important and necessary. And I was like, I'm gonna dress nice. I'm gonna put on a nice shirt. And I'm just really happy that Brandon came as his most authentic self and that you came as your most authentic self. Because
I don't have on a black shirt, but I got on a black hat. That's where the color coordination comes in, baby. Color coordination.
We're all matching. It's fine. But I just, I really appreciate it. Everybody here is doing exactly whatever their most themselves is.
It's for the people. It's for the people. The hat's for the people. The shorts are for the people. The suaveness of Jon Gorski is for the people. We do it for the people.
I also put a llama out for the people.
My mom's 70th birthday is tomorrow, and I got her a bag for one of her gifts. We did 7 days till 70 over the last week and gave her gifts, and we're doing a big hurrah tomorrow, which is now today once this is published. And I definitely saw a pink birthday bag with a llama on it and was like, well, I have to get that. Obviously that has to be what I get. It didn't even say like happy birthday llama or like, I don't know what phrase that would be, but it didn't have anything to do. It was just a llama with glasses. And I was like, yeah, no, we're going to do this.
Yup. Yeah. Everyone's happy. It's a real life unicorn.
There's nothing wrong with it. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Oh, I guess cheers. Yeah.
Cheers. I decided against the coffee, and I decided against the Martinellis. And I said, you know what? Earl Grey and I have gotten really close. So Earl and I are hanging out tonight. Hi, Earl. Say hi to the people.
There you go.
Martinelli's is a what?
Talking about like apple juice, like apple.
Oh, I love apple juice.
Yeah.
Great.
But they also have like sparkling, like apple cider. The Martinelli's is like one of my favorite apple juices.
Is it like, is it spiked? Is it alcoholic? No, it's just like really good apple juice.
It's just really good apple
juice. If they're giving champagne to someone who doesn't want alcohol, they give Martinelli's.
Because
it still looks like champagne. It still has the bubbles. It's
the Mott's of the West Coast.
Oh, it is. It's so good.
It is very good.
All right. I might have to get in on this Martinelli's game.
You're going to be hooked, and then we will definitely get wasted on Martinelli's.
So question. I want to get chocolate wasted. Do you recommend? Is this something like? So we're on full ride cowboy trek. We're out for a week or two. Got your bottle of Martinelli's. Is this something that like you carry with you?
No. This was for a special occasion. Like you said, it's a substitute for champagne. So since I'm not drinking, well, I've had a little bit. Not today, but I've had a little bit in my. I passed my 2-week mark, and I had a little shot, and I was like, and I feel like I don't have to go have more. I don't feel like I have to make it a thing. So tonight I was like, well, I don't really feel like drinking tonight, so let me just get something that's gonna taste good, a little different. I don't really want water, it's a little too bland, and we're celebrating. Let me go get Martinelli's. Well, the store I went to didn't have it. I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna go get some, I'll make some tea at home. It's actually the perfect choice, to be honest.
Yeah.
Landed super good.
There you go.
Peaky Blinders continue. Like you're just living
Peaky,
you're riding horses on cobblestone streets as things explode around you and you are drinking Earl Grey. I feel like that. I don't remember a lot about the show, but I think that's what it was about.
we'll either go Peaky Stone, or we'll go Yellow Blinders. Either one works.
Either one. You know what?
Yellow Blinders sounds like a soft core that I'm not going to go into.
What are they going to do? Cancel us?
Yeah, it's all about BDSM on that show.
Which aligns a little bit with the job you're leaving right now.
Say again?
Yellow Blinders also kind of aligns with the job that Brandon's leaving.
Look at that.
John,
that is
you are going to be an epic dad joke, man. Wow.
Just telling a buddy yesterday, I was just like, yo, I'm trying to rack up the dad jokes early on. Get ready.
But you
friend who like has a child now, like that rubbed off on you. You're that guy. Nice job. Well played.
Happily.
But also he has the voice for it. And then the laugh that comes after where his kids are like, he thinks he's so funny. And I can just see John.
Yeah. But the girls over here, the ladies here, I do a joke and you're like, and I'm just in there laughing. That was a good one. I'm the one saying it to my joke.
Yeah, no. It's definitely you're laughing part of the joke, but you know what? That's how you know. If it makes you smile, like all good. I'm into it. So what's the heavy? What's
today actually, because it being a finale and being a way of recapping. This started as an idea last May, I think it was, that we started this. And as an idea of like, let's see what happens. Let's just throw it in. So today what I want to talk us to chat on is how do we celebrate? How do we celebrate when we when we hit our accomplishments, when we hit our goals, when you set your mind to something, I'm not going to do this for a bit, or I'm going to discipline, make this happen. How do you guys choose to celebrate yourselves? Because I think that's one of the things I'm learning more and more to really allow time for. It's so easy to check something off and then move on to the next thing. So when things go wrong, they're like, all right, let's look at this. What could be done differently? But how often do we really pause and celebrate ourselves?
I've been thinking about this pretty much all week. So that's crazy you're saying this. There was nothing in me was like, John's going to talk about celebration. It's like, it's been something that I have a hard time with. But at the same time, I think about like the mistake I made, not the mistake. Yeah, the mistake, forget it, it's a mistake. The mistake I made when I was younger is I thought I had to celebrate a certain way. It had to be extravagant, it had to be go out and party. It had to be like, yo, y'all, I just booked this job. And something that hit me later in life, you know, with that my coaches taught me early is act like you've been here before. Like, act like you've been here before. You don't have to go big, you don't have to go extravagant, you don't have to go fireworks. If it is what is naturally, organically happening, then fantastic. But to go out of your way and be like, hey, so I just did this, I just made this accomplishment, and you go plan this extravagant thing just to feel like it's just, for me, it's like, it's hard to come back the next day from that. And for me, a celebration is a comma, like an accomplishment is a comma. The period is when the cast's closed. So if these commas come, I'll make the commas, I'll adjust the commas as we're going through life, right? Maybe a bigger one, a smaller one, a longer one, whatever the case may be. But celebration went from forcing it to look a certain way, to allowing it to be a certain way that felt good for me. Sometimes the celebration is no phone, no Instagram, no one, no phone calls from the backyard. You guys hear this probably too fucking much. You're like, my celebrations and my everyday are just like intertwined. But for me, that is celebration because I put the work in and I've been doing the work for whatever the thing is. And my way of taking a deep breath, a deep sigh is like barefoot, backyard, don't want to be bothered. Let me just have the day to like breathe, really. It's really what it comes down to. It's just like, let me just breathe.
I love that.
John, what you
Honestly, it's kind of similar to what Brandon was saying. Is I used to be the same way of always had to go big, especially drinking. Thought we had to go and drink and party and rage. I remember I wouldn't necessarily rage in the sense of like going to clubs and everything like that, but I used to always joke around by saying, let's rage tonight, whereas like, let's get drunk. And then the next day would always be like, oh, well, it's not worth celebrating like what the celebration was. So now it's been those pause to really take in. I love going to the beach to just sit and look at the ocean and really reflect on it. But the same thing in the backyard. Sometimes it's with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning, or the same thing, pour a little glass of scotch and sit outside and just savor that moment. Savor like the experience, how much work I put into it, what the discipline was, what the effort behind what I was trying to accomplish, and to really allow myself to really just take it all in. Which has it's helped to really enjoy the process and the journey. Like Brandon, I like how you just said that it's a comma, because I think that is these celebrations, these wins, isn't the okay, great, now I can stop. And sometimes there are chapters where you finish, but a lot of these little celebrations are really just commas, like taking a moment, great, this was awesome, and you continue on, and being able to have that personal celebration with oneself. It's been a beautiful thing. I've been really enjoying it, even just to see because it just takes a moment. Even and the reason I came up with this is because earlier today when we were texting, I reflected on just like what we've created. We're in the second season, multiple episodes. I think we're like 45 hours worth of content that we've created between everything. And just to think that this all started off a phone call, an idea, and just and I was just telling a friend earlier today that I was like, oh, I'm going to be recording the season finale. And she's like, oh, what do you guys get out of it? And I'm like, honestly, like if it becomes a huge show, awesome. But honestly, for the three of us, we get to sit and talk and hang out and talk about stuff that we don't normally get to talk about. And it's been beautiful. And that alone has been something I'm very, very grateful for.
Yeah. I second that emotion. That's huge. So I'm gonna pull my Brandon card for the last time, I believe, in season 2. And
yes, it is.
So I obviously, like all of us, I think or a lot of us do when we're younger. Fucking rage, bro. Go out, glow sticks, and we're going in.
No glow sticks here. No glow sticks.
No glow sticks for Brandon. But the thing is, like I'll say, there, and maybe this is just a product of, and it's not a knock to LA. This is not a coastal thing, but there is nothing like when you get that call, and I've had this conversation with so many performers. When you get that call, a lot of times that becomes the peak, because that's your ego getting that fucking charge of, yep, you are as good as you think. And you get that, oh shit. And you get to tell everybody, and all night you're just fucking partying, and that's great. And then it comes, oh, wait a second. Now I have to do the work. Now I have to prove that I earned it. And so I want to circle back to that, because that has become much more the important thing to me by far. Accepting whether or not I'm interested in the process of what I'm doing or whether or not it's about what it looks like to other people.
Mm,
For a long time, my success was based on what my success looked like to other people. And for me now, I went from raging as a kid to uh, like trying to be introspective and taking it in and doing that. And that is not in any way a knock to what you guys are doing. That's what you guys do. But I I don't know whether it's just a New York thing, but because of Ange, like there is nothing like getting fucking good news in New York City and being like, we are going for days. We're not, it's not a night. We're gonna fucking
mm,
go hard for days. And we can
mm,
find stuff open at all hours and there will be lots of people there and we can like just revel in all of and do the same things that you're talking about. We're reveling in the process and acknowledge
mm,
all of those things and those peaks and valleys. But instead of it being one high point and then a crash, it's this thing of everybody in something that I love about New York City. Everybody, it's fucking hard to live in New York City. It is hard to live there. And when you live there and especially successfully, which just means surviving, like there's a shared experience that I love so much. So celebrating there, I just fucking do anything and everything and it's the best. And I think that's kind of carried over into our lives a little bit. Food and drink is our thing. Like we will take, now granted, we are also kind of outside of New York, we're very like personal creatures. We'll hide in our little bubble, but we will do the New York experience on a microcosm of that just in the house and for 24 to 48 straight hours, just go hard and not to get drunk, but to celebrate what we have done, all of the steps that took us to get here and what awesome opportunities are going to come out of that.
mm.
It's that process. And when you love the process, there's something that is inherently so much better in the celebration and in those calls and in those moments. Um, yeah. So that's kind of how we celebrate. We just fucking go ham.
But ham is, but and that's the thing, right? Definitions and context is everything. Like your ham is ham for y'all. Like it's going hard. It's 100%. It's whatever the case may be for you guys, and you know what you want to get out of that. I think for me, when I what I find is that I'm often like, I don't want to say I'm not charged up, but I'm rarely ever like, I don't get like a burst of energy. I end up finding myself like needing to like slow down. Like we just got done shooting some stuff for my reel. And I think it's 2 days later and I'm still recouping. You know, like it was something to celebrate for sure in the moment. Like in the moment, I was like, holy crap, like we just finished the last scene. Like this is it. Like it's gonna get cut, it's gonna get edited, it's going out to like whoever may be representing me for the next 20, 30 years. Like that's massive. And I find myself just being like, I'm just gonna sleep in today. This is nice. This is nice. I like this. I'm just not gonna do nothing. Like for me, that may not be going ham, but it's what I felt like, okay, let's get rested up. Like let's take care of our body. Let's take care of me. That's for me. But on the other end of this, and I will say this, Colt, in alignment with what you're talking to, I think it's a really interesting thing to learn how to celebrate, even if your norm has become very mellow, very meditative. It's like I have to tell myself sometimes it is okay to go out for that champagne with some friends. It is okay to say, hey, we're going to go out to a dinner, because there's a part of me that didn't feel deserving of a certain thing, right? Like there's the celebration that's really for everyone around you. that's like big and bombastic, and it's all these different things. It's whatever. Like there's that, but it's really for the people around you, or if that's you, what you know you're doing, right? You want your friends to feel like we're having a good time because we're celebrating this big victory. Everyone's gonna win and everyone's gonna whatever, right? But in reality, you're kind of like just doing it for them. You're not really able to kind of like sit with it. But there are moments where I have allowed myself to be with some people and sit in the celebration of someone's accomplishment in a very unique way. Now, whether it was a very like chill, speak easy kind of thing where there's maybe it's really quaint, it's 4 or 5 people, there's food, there's music, it's communal, everyone's talking about their journey, their process, whatever. Like those moments I've had to tell myself, no, just go do it. And found the charge up from pushing myself to go do it. So I think a lot of it has to do with learning what it means to celebrate you and how to celebrate the occasion to scale. Because, you know, as actors, or even John, for you in the event industry, right? If you're in Milan or you're somewhere, it's not your backyard. So you're in a hotel with 6, 7 other people from the team, maybe more, I don't know how it works, but everyone's gonna wanna go out to dinner. Everyone's gonna, hey, let's go see the city. Everyone's gonna, let's go see the Eiffel Tower. Let's go to this monument. Hey, let's take John out tonight for his birthday or for the fact that he just landed this big client. It's in those moments, instead of being so consumed by how I do something, and be like, no, okay, yeah, I'll go out tonight. Like I'll go out with everyone and I'll celebrate this in a way that may be different than how I would normally.
I'm so sorry. I got to jump on this.
Jump in.
What I like about, I completely understand what you're saying. And while I agree with it, I should add kind of an addendum or an amendment.
I love your addendums, by the way. They're fantastic. I have a folder of Colt's addendums, by the way.
Well, thank you very much.
It's going to become available on iTunes very soon. Colt's addendums.
It's going to be a totally separate podcast, just branded
Yes.
reading Colt's addendums.
Colt's addendums.
Sometimes I don't properly describe things because I get excited about the energy of it. Within all of those things, it's just Angelina and I out. Like, I need to make that very clear. It is just my best friend and I celebrating the life that we've built together. And the fact that everybody, like, if you go to Fat Cats, you will end up playing shuffleboard with some motherfucker, and maybe it's going to be a cool experience, maybe it's not. But most of the time, like 90% of the time that I've been there, like, or at whatever speakeasy in New York, like Little Branch, you happen to go down there and there's just something in the air. You know, you're fucking, when Caliente Capco is there, like when you're in those places, there's just an energy of, it's just the two of you and you're having these little moments, but then someone can feel that. And so they kind of feed off of that.
Love that. Love that.
Is kind of what I'm saying, where the city acknowledges, oh, you had a win. You had a win in a city that is hard to have a real win in. Like there's something special there, and that is carried over into the rest of our lives. I also think that I'm very blessed. Oh, I love that sound. I'm very blessed that in the, like, I'm 3 hours ahead of y'all, right? I was in here like knocking shit out and doing stuff dressed like this before, and we're having a hard time not partying, and it's just a fucking random Thursday. Like I have a very blessed life to where I have those barefoot backyard moments every night.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that with regards to the specific things that we're talking about, we amp it up because we have a saying, I mean, that everybody, it's a very popular thing, but best day ever, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we say best day ever minimum once a week and mean it. Like there's a weight behind it. And it's not always on those celebration days. It's not always on the vacation that, you know, the first vacation she took in 3 years during Aladdin. Like it wasn't it's not those times. It's just fucking good days.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that addendum that though I was talking about the larger city and the energy of it in general, it is the microcosm of the two of us that is special, that is celebrated, that is that life that's created and that is continuing to bear fruit, that is continuing to come to fruition, that we are celebrating. It's even less, oh, this job. It's, oh my God, all of the sacrifices that we made, all of that hopelessly romantic optimism. Yep. There's something there that I just,
I think both of you touched on something. I think the celebration depends on what is being celebrated, because we have the personal wins and then we have celebrations, kind of like what you're talking about, where it's a bigger thing and it is with people. This is not to say that we don't also still celebrate and go ham and like go out and party and whatever that looks like. But I think it's the finding what the celebration is and celebrating with the right people. Is what I'm hearing both of you say. And I think that's what makes it really a beautiful moment, is when you're able to be surrounded by people you love and love you and able to share that moment and being like, if it's a win for you personally and they're there to support you and being like, yo, you accomplished something big, or being there for someone else and being able to celebrate them and being able to really realize like, wow, what an accomplishment. I think that's a beautiful thing. What you're saying right now is like, with you and Ange, like being able to share with your best friend, like it's what we all, I think, we dream for. We all want that experience. We all want to be able to be surrounded by those people that just make the celebration that much better. Because like everything, you remember that saying is like, we're all climbing up the ladder, but if you get to the top and you're only one there, who are you celebrating with? I've always believed helping everyone else up the ladder. Let's help each other. We're help pulling each other up. That way, when we get to the top, we can all celebrate together. So I just love how both of you just like added some addendums to how we celebrate, because it is a beautiful thing when you can realize the accomplishments we got.
Yeah.
And I've realized that for myself. I used to like be so quick to move on to the next, because being in the event industry, we make a big event happen. When, especially coming from catering, we're doing 330 events plus a year. So it's just like on to the next one, on to the next one. Like while we're in one event, we're already thinking about the next one. And so there wasn't pauses unless it was like a major thing. Moving to event production, I do a lot less events. And so when we accomplish a big event, being able to be with that team, because it's no way in any close to like war or anything huge like that, but like some of these events feel like that, in the sense of like we're working 18-hour days, sleeping 3-4 hours, come right back, do it again, and like we're making the impossible happen, and we're making all this stuff. And I think back to an event we did in Spain where we think we pulled off close to like 90 hours in about 6-7 days, and I remember I only slept like 22 hours in 6 days, especially the wedding day, because that night I slept I think 4 hours. All right, so I worked a 20-hour day, slept 4 hours, worked a 21-hour day, slept 3 hours, worked a 10-hour day, and then drove an hour and a half back to Barcelona. And all of us had individual cars that we had to drive back. And all of us were exhausted. And we're just like, what?
Well, it's just a boring life. Just drive like an hour and a half back to Barcelona. It's fucking.
Well, no, but it was one of those moments where we were all so exhausted. But when we sat there, we were like, let's go grab dinner and let's call it a night. But when we were sitting at dinner and like remembering the different moments and like laughing about, even though it was stressful about this situation or this or whatever the individual things that happened in that moment, as stressful as it was in that when it happened, being able to look back and be like, wow, it was stressful, we were able to accomplish it, and then look at the overall, the clients were happy, the guests had an incredible moment, we had an incredible moment, and to sit there, that gave us a whole new energy. The next thing you know, we stayed up till 2 or 3 in the morning, closed out a bar and danced and like celebrated, and it was such a beautiful way to wrap up a crazy week. But for all of us, we're like, wow, what a way to like look what we just accomplished. Most people in the world will never know what we just did, and it's not about that, but it's for us to know that we came in, we were there for each other, we helped each other get through this, and now we can rejoice.
Mm. What's something you've rejoiced over recently?
That's a good question. I think recently it's been personal wins for myself. I think I've been able to calm down or slow down, and being able to, for a long time, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, I was so on the go, I wasn't paying attention to the emotions that were coming up. And now I'm sitting with it. And like I mentioned how 2 weeks ago, I talked to my therapist, and she was like, how exciting is this? 'Cause now you're actually pausing. You're not rushing to numb yourself. You're not rushing to distract. You're actually sitting with it. And the amount of times that I could easily gone right, and then I said pause, and I said, no, actually, not only am I not going to do that, now I'm actually going to go and we hit the Culver City stairs, or I'm going to go take a drive, or I'm going to go do a workout. Something that's not only the opposite of going a route that wouldn't have served me, but now I'm actually going to take an extra step to do something that will serve me even more than even if I just sat here. And so being able to now almost daily, because one of you two just mentioned that when you get to a place where you're celebrating every week, I think Colt, you were just saying, where you're celebrating, and it's just like when you can celebrate those little wins, like I think that's where right now I'm at, is being able to celebrate myself, being, yo, you're growing up. What about you guys?
Brandon?
Colt, my energy was saying you spoke, so like you're the one that needs to go. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, we're celebrating a lot of stuff at the moment. There's a lot of little things, a lot of big things. And without getting into the details of it, I think, John, you kind of tapped on it a little bit. And Brandon, you and I have talked on this. We talked about it last night. I don't know whether we talked about it last night, but there's a level of accepting those small wins and acknowledging the small things, and not making more of them than what they are. Because when you make more of the little things than what they are, it diminishes them so much. But when you don't acknowledge them because they're too little, it takes all of the value away from them. And then you have taken something that's precious beyond any valuation, and just turned it into nothing. You've taken everything away from it. So it's been a lot of going, okay, this is the process that we're used to doing things in. We go, boom, if this doesn't happen, it's A, and then here's Z. And if I don't hit Z, then fuck it. I don't want any of the alphabet. Fuck everything. I'm out. Fuck the Greeks. Like, they did a terrible job. Like, and I think that lately it's been much more of us going, holy shit, there's a lot of other letters. Also, there's a lot of alphabets. I think if we're going to drag this metaphor down the road, like, there's a lot of potential for a different valuation on things. And we've been acknowledging the value of things that previously were devalued by us, by our actions, because they weren't big enough, because they weren't the eventuality. We didn't give them the weight they deserved as, hey, this is still a win. And there's so many little wins that happen, and we just fucking blow right past them because they're not the big one. They're not the one that's going to change our lives. And like, so that's what's changed for us lately. That's been a big thing for us. Yeah.
For me, it's been really letting myself feel the process of what's happening with Bear. I think the scary part of it was knowing that my whole life I've been like a big animal person, and like I've always told my mom I want dogs, and I've always talked about dogs. I feel connected to them, animals really in general, but the loyalty and companionship of dogs is like it's bar none. Hence why we call them our kids. You know, it's bar none. They're protectors. You know, they're not a prey animal. They're a predator that is saying, "I will submit to you." Right? It's different with Smokey Joe. Smokey Joe is a prey animal, meaning I have to let him feel safe where he feels like I'm gonna fucking die. Save us both. When push comes to shove, the boys will protect this house. They'll protect me. They'll protect my wife. They'll protect my kids. They'll protect anyone I love because that's what's in them. That's what's ingrained in them. So I see it that way. When it comes to knowing I have a bond and a relationship and a love with them, is like they could do anything right now, but they're choosing to be here with me. They're choosing to be a part of my family. They're choosing it. They don't have to. And so knowing that, and I was thinking about this actually driving home, all of the people Bear's impacted in literally the span of time I've had him is remarkable. It's remarkable. And to know that his 8 years in the shelter was not in vain either, because he impacted every person, every handler, every trainer, every volunteer. They still message me asking how he's doing. And I think for me, I kind of just had this like really quick like photo album flip through of his life, and then I got to the chapters that were us and about us. And it hit me in the chest because it was just like, man, people love him. People know that I love him. People ask about him. And he's just being himself. And that's it. And that's why he's so loved. And that's why he's so regarded. And he's one of the dogs that people love. And so anyway, I've really seen what wouldn't for a lot of people seem like a victory or celebration was allowing myself to feel something in the midst of a lot of life changes and a lot of life things happening, where prior to him really hitting this turn, I was already making some shifts and some transitions in my life about things that I wanted to do and saw coming in my mind. I'm like, we're all going. We're all going to this next chapter of my life. And it's hard. He's like, hey, I'm getting off here actually. And that's what was hard for me to sit with, which was I'm getting off here. So I've been just celebrating the fact that I've allowed myself to feel during this time and not numb it, not push it down, not run from it. Well, even if I have run from it, acknowledge that I have been running from certain things and then facing them. That's my win. That's my victory. That's my celebration. That's my, yeah. So
Can I offer? I feel like one of the things that I've seen you do, and which leads me to my question of the night, unintentionally, is what I feel like I've seen you do is you went from just having to acknowledge what he was going through and into a level of celebrating him. And we've talked about this before. Talked about, usually, I think we've talked about it a couple of times over the course of the seasons, but post somebody's passing, post death, we talk about celebrating their life and not just mourning their death, doing both.
Right.
But you're celebrating his life. When I've talked to you off of here, you're celebrating his life here. You're taking time to have those little celebrations with him, whether it's just him picking up his head in the truck, whether it's just him getting up and walking around with Austin, whether it's like however it manifests himself or itself. I'm doing that more. And so with that, I posit to y'all, how do you celebrate others' victories? I think that's an important part of this conversation, right? How we celebrate others' victories has a real big impact on how we're willing to celebrate ourselves or not. So I would like to know how each of you, and this is a question that while you're answering, I will be thinking about, because at the moment I'm like, I don't even fucking know. I mean, I can't actually. I do. I might. Jon?
That's a good question. I think one, it depends on the person and what we're celebrating. But I think one thing that comes to mind is I've had a few friends that happened recently where they've had a win and almost sounds like they kind of downplay it. Like, yeah, this is big, but yeah, it's on to the next one. And I try to pause and get them to think back, like where you started. Look back where you began, and look where you're at now, and like the progression, and just that if they're not taking the moment to pause, being able to remind them, hey, pause for a second, like really take this in. Like this is something you get to celebrate yourself. And I think that's one of the ways I get to celebrate others is by voicing, because a lot of us learn not to like brag about ourselves and be humble, I guess is something that society tells us a lot. So sometimes we don't go and really cheer ourselves on. And I've seen that recently, and I've had to do that with a couple of friends. I'm just like, yo, take a moment to really see what you just created. Like even if it's small to you compared to everything else going on, like this is huge. Like this is beautiful too. It's and I also think honestly it's hosted. Like I think that's always been a way of just taking a moment to cheers and show that appreciation. It's interesting having friends now that don't drink and are sober or anything like that, adjusting to that. But taking that moment to be there with them, to be in just complete joy for what they're accomplishing and seeing the happiness. Even like, I don't know, it makes me happy to see other people happy. And especially when they're happy with what they've created, it just brings me joy. And so just to be there in that moment, to share that moment and that feeling with them, I think is how I try to celebrate other people.
I mean, you did a good job. When you came out to hang out with me and Smokey Joe for the first time, and even that second time, I felt like you were celebrating me. You just kept telling me and reminding me, like, dude, this is awesome. Like, this is amazing. Like, I love seeing you in your element. I love seeing you like this. Like, that kind of celebration and support, it doesn't feel forced, and I love it. Because I can feel like you were genuinely happy seeing me that happy. And so I love trying to also give that to people too. And one of the things is whenever someone is sharing news with me or I hear news, I make sure to be very present and very in front of them and say, my God, that's amazing. Like, I'm happy for you. Congratulations. Like, how do you feel about it? And give them the space to really be like, I don't know. Or, I feel incredible. I've been wanting this so much. Or telling someone who I've seen on their process and in their journey, like, Colt, when you get that call for whatever next audition or whatever audition you got a call back for, we don't know about yet because you're low key and private, but that's okay. But whatever callback you got or whatever audition you got coming up, whatever thing you've already booked, in my mind, I can't wait for us to blow up our chat, or I can't wait for us to hop on the phone and just really lean into celebrating with you, affirming you, being there with you to celebrate, because we know the hard work, the determination, the navigation of married life, being a husband, being a dog dad, and finding time to hop on a Zoom audition, or to taking time to go over your lines or do the work, and then you get the call and it's not, okay, thank you, we'll be in touch. It's, hey, so we'd like to offer you the role of, and knowing, especially when you know you've had a call where it's like, hey, so they went another direction. Like, it's such a passive blow. Hey, they went another direction. It's such a passive blow, because you're like, what the fuck do you mean they went another direction? Like, I saw the breakdown for the character. What do you mean? And it's just their way of saying you didn't get the role, you didn't get the part, you didn't. So I can't wait to do that. And Jon, same thing with you. Really, Jon, the thing that I'm like really like in my soul and in my gut, I think you are gonna throw some of the best and most amazing parties. I like when you tell us that you're like, hey guys, so I found the one. Like, when you have that moment and like we get to meet her and see you guys, like in my gut of guts, I'm like, that's the thing that I'm like, fuck, Gorski, dude, we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have such a good fucking time. So that's how I celebrate others. And the sidebar is this: I had a friend tell me he was dating someone, and the guy he was seeing wasn't celebrating him. Like, he had a really hard time, and because this guy is he's a big personality. He's a really big personality. He's going after a lot of different things in life. He does music, he writes books. He's a pretty successful performer. And the guy he was seeing is still finding his way and figuring his way out. And he said, what hurts the most is when you're there for someone so much, but they can't even just send you a text. They won't, they won't just simply share your video and say, so happy for, proud of this person. But if they have a rough day, you'll drop everything and go be with them or whatever. And all you really want them to say is, hey, I see your greatness too. I see that you are doing this, even though you know the battles that person goes through to create the life they want. It's not easy to create that kind of life. And he did the Super Bowl, and I knew how he'd been feeling, and I simply sent him a text at like 11 o'clock at night. And I think it was, or whatever the case may be, it was pretty late. And I said, you're worthy to be celebrated. I love you. I'm happy for you. And keep doing greatness, something along those lines. And all he said, I needed that. Thank you so much. And instead of thinking, oh, everybody's hitting him up, oh, everyone's sharing his stuff on social media, it's like, it doesn't matter if everyone's doing it. It doesn't matter if 1,000 people say congratulations, but it can be just someone just hearing it from you will hit so different than all the people in the world saying you're great, 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 you're great. And then one person says, no, I think you're phenomenal. And you're like, wow, thank you for that. That hit me a particular way.
It seems like it all comes back to context. Everything.
Oh, is that right? Is that right, cowboy?
Saying, like, don't make me go put on the fucking boots. I ain't got socks on.
I love it. By the way, with those shorts.
On. Come on now. I can't.
Can you please? It's a finale. No, fuck this shit. It's a finale. Colt Prattes in cowboy boots, those booty shorts, and a tight shirt. Okay. Let's do it.
The question is, which boots? Because
the black boots.
Brandon, there's 3 pairs of black boots.
Well,
I got the matching Ariats to your brown ones.
Okay.
I got the crocodiles that she got me this past year, or I think they created.
Ooh.
That was a very, very nice surprise. Now I know which ones I'll put on, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the story before I put them on.
So, Kevin Hart moment, by the way.
And very.
I know something to put them on. I'll tell you why.
I'll tell
Right
you-
here.
I'll tell you something. I have watched No Fucks Given so many times at this point. Because it is this evolution of his comedy that I very, very much appreciate. It is ridiculously honest, and while he's always been a fairly honest comic, there's something new. There's a new level of what he's doing right now. I really appreciate it. I think it happened a lot because of his accident, which he's celebrating himself to bring it back. Quick story about celebration, right? So I grew up in a certain house outside of, or in Marietta, Georgia. And when Ange and I first met, she came down with me. We were cleaning up my old bedroom. And on a bookshelf, she found, a little cowboy boot, a little tiny cowboy boot. I can go get it. I have it right here. And it was a little black lizard skin cowboy boot with a little silver toe cap. And she showed it to my mom. She said, "Where in the, what is this? Oh my God, what is this?" And my mom told her the story. My dad had given me these cowboy boots. I had these boots. My dad was mounted patrol on the police department. I know that I've talked about both my parents were police officers. My dad was mounted patrol. So whenever I went to visit him, I was in it's a precinct that's in a barn. So that's where my affinity and Brandon, one of our kind of surprisingly kismet connections, as it were, comes from. That there are pictures of me wearing my cowboy hat, my little bomber jacket, and these boots and my jeans, riding around on Bob the Ninja Horse. I was allowed to name him myself. And there's a ton of pictures of this. My mom said, I wore these boots to sleep. I wore them to school. I wore them in the bath if I could. Like, I wore them everywhere. I would sleep in my boots.
Mm.
And here's this story. I'm 27, 28 at the time. Fast forward a couple of years. 30 years old. Turning 30. We're living in Las Vegas. I'm doing Rock of Ages. She's doing a show out there. And we're at a bar one night for my birthday. We went to the Pinball Hall of Fame, played pinball for an hour or two, went to this bar, playing darts, drinking beer. Everybody gathers around, open my present. She has custom made an exact replica of these fucking boots from my childhood.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Those are the boots that I'm getting ready to go put on.
How crazy is this like story full circle, right? Holy
About celebrating people, right?
wow.
I wore those boots so much. They're Lucchese's. Like, they're true blues. They're fucking beautiful boots. I wore them so much that I blew through the fucking sidewall within 6 months. I called Lucchese and they said, send them to us. We'll fix them up and send you a brand new pair. I said, I don't want a new pair. I want you to fix this pair. And they said, well, we know that we can fix this pair. And I said, okay, well, how long is it going to be? And they said, it's going to be about 6 months. I said, I can't go that long without my boots. I wear them every fucking day. Like, I can't, no. And so I still have them. I'll go put them on right now. Those will be the boots.
For the season finale. While he's gone, Jon, what is something you hope to celebrate?
Hope to celebrate. Honestly, what you brought up earlier, I look forward to when I get to celebrate, when I'm like, there she is. This is now I know. Now it all makes sense. I look forward to celebrate. And honestly, there's certain friends I know when I call, and I think when I can be like, hey, this is the day I need you safe. I think that's going to be the moment I get to, I will get to celebrate. That
I
will
felt
be a
that.
celebration in many, many ways.
That was amazing, dude. By the way, I don't think I've ever heard anyone put it that way. When I call someone like, yo, save the date, I was like, I've gotten plenty of save the dates. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I got you. August 18th, woohoo. I'll wear a new suit. I have to go get a new tux. But when you said that, man, that landed. That landed. Yeah. Oh, here he is. He's back.
What about you?
Let's see.
What do I hope to celebrate?
Yeah.
It's been interesting, man. This acting thing is really taking a hold of me. And I think what's interesting is I'm more excited for that first real experience on a set, whether it's in a studio or it's on location, whether it's a guest star role, whether it's, a coat, whatever. Like I'm really looking forward to, because I love it. Whenever I'm on set, whenever I get around this set, I'm like, this is home. Like Warner Brothers lot, ABC lot, like Universal lot, I'm just at home. Christina, Marcus's wife, was on a show last year called The Harder They Fall, before the pandemic and before the lockdown. And I went to 2 tapings of her show, and I remember going to I think it's like the CBS lot, which is, they do like ABC shows on this lot. But I got there, and I remember walking around, and I was, soundstage 15, soundstage 19, soundstage 22, soundstage, and then you see the house from the Tim Allen show, and then you see the house from Modern Family, and then you see the house from this, and then you go to this one, and as I'm walking through here, and people are saying hi, it's like, I feel like I'm supposed to be here. And so for me, it's that time when I get to walk up to that first job, that first set, that one that's like, this is why I do this. This is why I'm here. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It's funny you say that. I've talked about it in interviews, but I've never talked about it here. We rehearsed for the Pink tour, for the Truth About Love tour, on the Paramount lot. So every day we'd go to the Paramount lot in Culver City for a month, 6 weeks. And, you're going to the mess hall, and you're going to their cafeteria, as it were, their restaurants. And I remember the first time that I even met her for the Tribe video, for the rehearsals. It was in the same exact studio. And I walked into this fucking airplane hangar. I mean, John, these fucking things are enormous.
Yeah.
I'd seen it in movies and TV, like you see it represented, but I walked in, and she was doing an Aerial Silks rehearsal, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it took me like 10 minutes. It took me like genuinely 60 to 90 seconds to walk from the door to get to where she was working. And I remember being there, and there was something epic.
Mm-hmm.
It's that feeling that you're talking about. And what I've talked about is the fact that, and I've told her this publicly and privately, that I loved aspects of touring, but it was watching her do these 3 numbers every night. They weren't back to back, but it was 3 numbers that over the course of the tour I never missed, that made me go, oh, this isn't what I want to do. I want to be back on that lot the right way. I go back to that lot. I'm going back the right way. I'm going back for what I'm supposed to be doing. And watching her passion so closely across the literal world made me go, oh, I'm not happy doing this. This isn't what I'm supposed to do. I have to do what I'm going to do. And ironically, being in the biggest venues that I'd been a part of at the time brought me to a place that that is exactly what you just described. It just makes me smile. It makes me very excited for whatever your journey is going to bring you on. I'm excited. I'm excited to come visit you on set. It's going to be a good time.
Oof, another one. Jesus, y'all just hitting us tonight. Y'all just. Who's daddy? You somebody's daddy, John. You got a kid out here you don't know about? That's right, son. I tried to tell you.
That voice, I'm
just
sure he does.
Yeah.
There's a little John running around. All right, so actually, let me see if I can find that other. I'll find the little one. I'll post a picture of it. So this is.
Those are fucking sick.
I mean, they're beautiful, hand stitched Italian leather. Like
they're sick. Oh my God.
Hold on. Like I
blew out the, but those are bad ass, buddy.
I love these things. But I opened that box. And I fucking lost it, man. It was the best.
Yeah.
Just to be like, how thoughtful can one person be? And I'll say nobody that I've ever encountered, and I mean hearing about friends. I've never heard of a friend giving better presents than the present I've received from Ange, and that is probably a little bit subjective, but I don't know anybody who goes to the lengths that she goes to celebrate other people, and that's been a beautiful kind of secondary benefit of this love, of this relationship, is that I've learned to celebrate people, and I've learned to acknowledge that I love celebrating people. There was one person, my friend Billy, that I talk about on here all the time, that I've always celebrated. He would call me, he'd say, "Hey, I got this. Hey, I got this job." He called me and said, "Hey, I got Pippin on Broadway." Lost it. Like I had gotten called that I was in a Broadway show. I was like, "We made it. Oh my God." And he told me the first night that was going on. He called me, he said, "Hey, I'm going on," because he was the standby for Pippin. And he said, "I'm going on for Pippin tonight. It's my Broadway debut as Pippin in Pippin on Broadway." And I happened to be flying in from Australia that night from the tour. And I flew into New York and we went to the show, and his parents were there, and he was incredible. It was incredible. But I remember the first time that he got a big job. I remember the time that he called me and said, "Hey, I have to go to the West End in London and be the star of Book of Mormon, and they're going to pay me an exorbitant amount of money." And just remembering that, I think I told the story when I was with Marcus. We're at the VMAs, and Billy calls me and says, "Hey, I'm between shows right now. I just wanted to call you and check on you." I was like, "I'm so sorry. I can't talk right now. I forgot to tell you I'm doing the VMAs right now with Taylor Swift." And he was like, "We were on your trampoline in your backyard talking about our dreams. I remember that. You forgot to fucking tell me because it just doesn't register. I'm in London starring in this show. You're doing this." And to that, when I tell that story, I only tell that story in very specific times. I talked to Marcus about that story within the last year. I'm telling you guys that because I'm excited to see where 5 and 10 years from now we are when we look back. Remember when we had that conversation about celebrating ourselves and about celebrating about how to celebrate others. Who have we been in those past years? Who have we been since those past versions of ourselves made those promises? I'm excited for that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, where's Ange, by the way?
she's in the bedroom. She always gives me the floor so I can make sure that I'm my most authentic self.
If anything, you'd be more authentic when she's around. Jesus.
You know what though? It's interesting. I had an audition the other day, and she was like, she said it was a callback, and she said, "Do you want me to go to the room?" I was like, "No, I don't give a fuck. Like, stay right there. You." I've been doing this whole life, and 60 seconds before I went live, I said, "You know what? You're right. You're right." Because I realized that there's an element of that where it becomes performative, and it's a hard thing to explain, but I just realized I'm gonna try and be the person that you know me to be,
Right.
and therefore I'm gonna completely lose out on being the person that I actually am, because I'm trying to be that in front of other people, but for you. So
Yeah.
ironically, I'm actually usually like, nah, I love you. But you got.
It's interesting because when I was on set, Marcus has been helping me with my reel. And I'll just leave it at that. But we've been filming, and I can identify with that to an extent because it's my boy, right? And I think a part of me maybe I'll start performing. We talked about this. I'll start performing because I know it's him, and I know he's a working actor, and I know he knows acting. Like, and I can only imagine it'd be the same thing with you, Colt, on set. Like, John may not be the same because you may be like, dude, that was fucking bomb. Because you're not looking, you're not seeing the certain things like, hey, be like your camera technique here, like try this, like you're not breathing, you're not relaxed, like I can see, and that changes how another actor is with another actor, right? Like especially if you know the actor. If you don't know anyone, you're more likely to just relax into it, and the stakes aren't as high. The second you add in that familiar element, and so I hear you there. I definitely hear you.
If somebody knows your bullshit, if somebody can if someone can see through your bullshit, it's so much harder, because then you're trying so hard. You're trying so hard to be like, no, this is I'm being authentic. Look how authentic I'm being.
Yeah.
Rodan 24/7. I always sit like this. This is how I relax.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah, what a terrible finale. Just awful. Terrible topic.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I give it a 2.5 stars, really.
Yeah.
2.5.
2.5.
Rotten Tomatoes, I give it like a 38%, really, to be honest. John?
I can't hear
I'm
you.
about a 40. I'm about a 40%.
I was like, John, please don't let this be technical difficulties at the end.
Yeah, at the very end. Internet just crashes.
Gorski, how would you like to close out season 2 finale?
Just in immense gratitude. Immense gratitude to you two for showing up every week, to the people who watch this, to the idea that started years ago as just an idea. And if it's just changing our lives, which I know it's changing others, but even if it was just us three, I'm so grateful for it. I'm a better man because of what we created here. And I know all three of us have gained a lot, but we don't know the impact that this is going to do to other people's lives. And that's not the point of knowing that. It's more of knowing that we're at least giving back. And so I'm in just gratitude. Any last notes from you guys for this season?
I would just be saying what you said, but again, amen. mean, that's
not as sexy, by the way. There's no way. I would have to. I would have
Different
to
type of sexy.
Like, yeah, but it's not the Gorski, There,
face. Whatever. This is bullshit.
Very grateful for you guys.
The nice thing is that I get upset because I'm like, shit, it's over. No, it's not. We're gonna talk tomorrow. We're gonna talk.
Yeah.
I'm done for the night because it's fucking late and I'm tired and my mom's birthday is tomorrow and I love y'all, but we're gonna talk tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else, we'll be back soon.
We'll see you soon.
Season 3's got some cool shit.
Looking forward to it. Oh yeah, I'm excited.
All right.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you.